Yeah, I can't figure out what to do with my hair. Can't find my brush anywhere, and it needs a good washing, so it's gonna be like this for this video. I don't like it, but it's gonna be the way it is. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about Mass Effect Andromeda, which is a game that came out at the end of March, and I beat it and things and stuff. I'm not really one to keep up with the video game world. You know, if I see a game I like, I'll wait till it comes out on sale, but the Mass Effect franchise has been one that I've truly enjoyed over the years. I think I discovered it through Michael Aranda. Out of the oddest places, he was doing a he was doing a gaming channel. He was trying to do a gaming channel, and he played some of it, and I went, this seems pretty interesting. Guess I should play it myself. So I've played all of the games, 1, 2, and 3, with female Shepard. So I knew that Andromeda was coming out. I saw some of the hype for it, I think from like an E3 or something, but I didn't really pay attention to it because I'm not all about that hype. I try not to hype myself. It's the way I do. But that did not stop me from getting it the day of. In fact, I think I pre-ordered it the day before it was to be released, and I was able to like pre-install it onto my computer so I could play at midnight. It was fun. Really fun and interesting experience. So Mass Effect Andromeda is the first game in the franchise that does not involve Shepard. Story-wise, it takes place about 600 years in the future after what happened with Mass Effect 3, and it is about a group of colonists going to the Andromeda galaxy to expand. I went into the game knowing very little about it other than, you know, Mass Effect Andromeda. Going to Andromeda, I knew that there were going to be twins. You have the Ryder twins, so that's where you get your choice between playing male and female. You get to play either the male twin or the female twin instead of like a different persona of the same character. I will insert a picture right here of what my Ryder looks like. This is Sarah Ryder. Her default name is Sarah, and I kept it that way. I tweaked her a bit. And yeah. Okay, create a character, I guess I should talk about. I think the only thing I have to complain about is the colors in, like, the hair colors and stuff. You have your natural colors, you got variants, but as soon as you start getting into like the wild colors, they're kind of weird and kind of weird looking and don't fit. So that's my only critique with that, is that some of the colors for hair are a bit wonky and could have jived better. Let's just say that. I really wanted a nice red hair color, and I had to go with like an orangey ginger just to not end up with clown red. Another thing that was a little bit different is the way the conversations happen. In the first 3 games, you have the choice, it comes up often, whether you play it Paragon or Renegade, you know, whether you're good or you're bad. This one had 4 different options that you could choose from. You can choose from like logical to professional to emotional to casual. And those kind of shape the way that your personality is, which I found pretty awesome. I really liked that because I was like, sometimes I want to be really professional in this situation. I don't want to just be Paragon, you know, or let's just be casual because, you know, it's the situation. In fact, if you play it, there is an option in the codex to go look at your psychological profile from your doctor of how you play the game. So I display a tendency towards analytical thinking and intellectual curiosity, which is me in real life. When interacting with others, even difficult personalities, you consider the more grounded and non-emotional response. Again, like me. However, the doctor says that this is at odds with your tendency to act impulsively in many situations. You go with your gut rather than pause and wait for more information. And then there are two parts here that kind of contradict each other. The one says that I'm more impulsive in the field than I am with your affection, and the other one says I'm more impulsive with my affection than I am in the field. So I don't know what that says. And it says, although you've had to quickly adjust to take on a new and unexpected role, you maintain a direct and professional demeanor. My guess is that your former military training and subsequent experience with the command structure is serving you well here, or perhaps a solid and respectful approach to things is just your nature. Which is pretty much how I go about things. Story-wise, I really enjoyed the story. The colonists are on these ships called arcs, which have traveled the colonists in stasis, cryogenic stasis, to the Andromeda galaxy, and they have these preset coordinates of these golden worlds that they have perceived before leaving, and when they arrive, things are not exactly the way that they thought things would be. Things have gone to shit, basically. Because, you know, it's 600 years since they last had information about this place. Things happen. And they find that the previously determined habitable planets are not really that habitable anymore. There are different arcs for the different species. So you have a human arc, a Solarian arc, an Asari arc, and a Turian arc. There are other arcs on their way that kind of departed after these arcs did, but these are the four main arcs that have initially embarked on the Andromeda exploration. Andromeda Initiative, as it is called. And of course there are some Krogan. There are Krogan that have been brought to this expedition as well, but they don't have their own arc because people are mean. Ahead of these arcs traveled was something called the Nexus, which is basically like the Citadel was, like the floating the city thing. So the arcs have to go there as their endpoint, I guess, before they settle on their worlds and things. And so when they arrive, they discover that, you know, things haven't gone to plan. There was a rebellion, a mutiny aboard the Nexus, and people were exiled, and the Krogan have gone off on their own, and things have just been really gone to shit. There is a phenomenon that has happened throughout the galaxy called the Scourge that have wrecked shit up, and there are also this other alien species called the Ket that like to fuck shit up. The Ket are the primary bad guys of the game, which their physiology reminds me a lot of the Protheans in a little tiny bit, like evolutionary wise. I can see it. And of course, as a counterpart to the last three games, is also in mechanical, artificial, robot intelligence type species called they are called the Remnant, which is basically like the counterpart of the Geth. There are similarities, is what I'm saying, to like the Milky Way galaxy and Andromeda. The main mission as a writer is you are a part of the Pathfinder team, which is tasked with finding habitable worlds, settling the Andromeda Initiative. So there is a Pathfinder for each of the species. Being a Pathfinder means you have an AI stuck in your head. That's always fun. And it helps you with things. Now, these worlds that they have previously seen that are habitable, they chose them, they're their golden worlds. It is the main task of the Pathfinder team to make them habitable again by going to these monoliths and these vaults that are located on each of the planets, left by or built by the Remnant, and that kind of terraforms the planet to be good again. So there is that. So fighting the Ket along the way, because the Ket don't like Remnant stuff, Cat don't like anyone. They kidnap people. They shoot people. The cat are just bad. Along the way, you meet a native species to the galaxy, the Andarans, who, you know, one of them joins your team and is the person I chose to romance. They have fought the cat for so long, and you know, their people are taken by the cat all the time, and they don't know exactly what the cat are doing with their people, whether they're just killing them or what. So there are various things to figure out. I'm not going to go much into that story. That's basically the gist of it. You know, fighting the cat, there's a bad guy, figuring things out, all that jazz. There are so many side quests. So many side quests, and I'm kind of glad that the tasks journal is organized the way it is. You have 4 or 5 different categories. You have you know which missions are your main event, like your main storyline. You have additional tasks. You have planetary tasks, and you have tasks for your crewmates and other people. Those are basically it. So the tasks are organized that way, which I really like, because I like, okay, before I move on in the main story, I want to have finished all these loyalty missions and things. So kudos for the organization system of the journal, the tasks. Love it. As far as like equipment and crafting and research goes, I played on narrative mode, so it was more about the RP than anything else, so I didn't really use that mechanism or mechanic of the game all that much. I barely used any credits at all. I'm not that big on crafting in games like these. Looted to no end, and I sold things, and I picked up gear, and I got the best gear that I could, but as far as like crafting things and mining for resources, I didn't do too much of. Another one of the reasons was my game glitched a lot when exploring systems and planetary systems that don't really have anything to do with the story. So just going to a planetary system to go explore for mining resources and stuff, the map would glitch out on me and would not like move at all. So I didn't do too much planetary exploring because of the glitch in my game. I know a big concern with a lot of people are the graphics in the game, and I recently watched a video about why the graphics are not as good as you could expect them to. Like, I kind of understand, but I did have a few instances where the graphics were a bit wonky, like facial features of like my crewmate PB. Sometimes she'd have a look of stank-faced when she shouldn't, and you know, same thing with the main character, my Sarah. Sometimes I find a few like facial glitches, and yeah. There was a patch that happened while in the middle of playing. Like, it took me a month to finish the game. There was a little patch to upgrade some of the graphics, like eyes and just some actions. So that was cool. It did improve a little bit, but I'm not really complaining all that much. It's not a big deal for me. One thing I was kind of looking forward to with this game is the fact that there's the whole twin factor. That you'll have a brother or a sister, depending on which gender you play. And you know, I was super excited to like play along with family, and it was one of the things that made me mad so much. Was basically your twin is in a coma for almost practically the entire game. Warning you in case you thought otherwise. It was a real bummer because I was kind of looking forward to that aspect of things, you know, not being a lone wolf, having family. It's something that you didn't get with Shepard. You know, don't introduce a twin aspect to a game and have the twin be practically in a coma for the entire game. Just don't do it. Ugh. Romance. Everyone wants to know about the romance. And, you know, I'm not opposed to the romance in video games. In fact, I really enjoy it. But this one, I didn't know who I wanted to romance because I kind of wanted to romance Cora, but she doesn't like girls, and it wasn't a thing that was happening, and I was so disappointed. And right away, you're able to flirt with the other human person on your team, Liam, and I just was like, no, not really digging you. And like I said, my character is very professional, and she likes going that route, so I found it very hard to figure out who I wanted to romance. And then you have the character of Jal. He is interesting. He wears his emotions on his sleeve. His whole species does, and I really like it. I mean, I didn't want to end up alone for the whole game, so I chose someone, and I chose Jal. I did flirt with Reyes on Kadara, if you know who that is. But the kind of whole situation threw me for a loop. Yeah, and I did enjoy a little zero-G fun with PB before the whole Jal thing, so that happened. I am playing the game entirely again, eventually, as the male version of Ryder, and I will be going after Cora. I will be, yes. Other things that I probably will explore better on my second playthrough is the whole profile system. With the first Mass Effect games, you had to choose what kind of class that you want to play, whether it's a soldier or a vanguard or biotic, whatnot. With Mass Effect Andromeda, you have, with the capabilities of the AI in your head, to switch between profiles, so you play as a biotic or a soldier, or there's an infiltrator. I think the infiltrator one is one I played the most with, but I didn't really mess with that system all too well. I didn't explore it. I just really liked the perks that the infiltrator gave me, which was to see an outline of the enemy in the distance. It helped a lot. Like I said, I didn't do a whole lot of the crafting things, but I did play with a pistol most of the time, followed by a shotgun with big things, so that was fun. And I didn't play a whole lot with like secondary powers and stuff. Like, I just didn't pay attention to it. I was more into the RP than I is in the combat, okay? But it's something that I will delve more into on a second playthrough. You really? Another part of the story was interesting to see where we stood with the events that happened in the first Mass Effect trilogy. The Andromeda Initiative left the Milky Way, I think the same year as Mass Effect 2 was happening, so, you know, depending on how you played, the world probably got destroyed, who knows. And so you do get to delve a little bit into that. Love seeing some like blasts from the past of like the previous games. I am looking forward to the possibility of another game. They definitely left it open for that. There is a mystery involving the other arcs that are on its way from the Quarians, and the other species of the Milky Way that have, you know, decided to participate in the Andromeda Initiative. I racked up about like 68, 69 hours of gameplay for the first time through. I have played a couple of hours as Scott Ryder, so like 70 hours altogether playing Mass Effect Andromeda. So there is a lot of gameplay with this game, and there is a lot of secondary quests, which is kind of awesome. Sometimes I would love I just go to a world and I try to complete everything before I move on with the main story. I'm a completionist. It's what I do. Although there was like the additional tasks I was like okay with not finishing. Like, they're not ones that have like a set destination point. It's just like, as you go through the galaxy, collect 18 samples of this. I didn't need to do that necessarily. There were some quests that you just like randomly come across things for the tasks to complete it, and so there wasn't a waypoint for me to follow, so I'm not about to go rummaging through everything trying to find things. I before Mass Effect Andromeda was to come out, I did start playing the first game over again, and I kind of put it down for a while, and now I picked it up again. One thing I'm really glad for with Andromeda is the auto-saving. Oh, because the first game, you forget to quick save and you're screwed if you die. I hope you've enjoyed this review of this game. I hope I haven't given too much away. I don't think I have. One of the fun things about playing this game was that, and actually I got a coworker into it. He started watching a Let's Play of it and got the game, and so well, as we both were playing, we would talk to each other about the things that were happening, and because he doesn't care about spoilers, I'd be like, oh, watch out for this, because I was a little ahead in the game than he was. So it was fun having a buddy to sort of play with and, you know, talk about the game and stuff. He's played multiplayer. I haven't. I should look into multiplayer, because he keeps asking if I've tried multiplayer yet. If you've played Mass Effect Andromeda, please let me know in the comments below. How did you like the game? What are your thoughts and feelings about it? I'd love to continue the conversation. You know, the differences of gameplay. It's big. So big. Sorry if this video is a bit on the long side. When you play a game for a month, a lot happens and you have thoughts and feelings about it all. I'm excited to play the franchise over again. Like I said, I'm in the middle of playing Mass Effect 1, which is kind of interesting. I think I've only played like the first 3 games once each through, and it was like a long time ago, so I don't remember a lot of the things that are happening, so it's a good time to restart doing things, so you don't feel like you've done this task just last week. I digress. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.